Hey everyone, Sari here, and welcome back to another week of Chaos Season offense matches. Chaos weeks are always fun to experiment with, opening up an entire book's worth of bonus units to build teams around. Book 3 includes Kronya, who hasn't had a chance to shine on my offense teams in a while. Chaos week's a particularly fun time to build a team around her, opening up options that aren't usually on the table. Duma, who also happens to be a Book 3 bonus unit, is a great way to start chipping at the enemy team's health on the first turn, along with being a great backup vantage option. Takami's been a regular on my Kronya teams, offering a lot of extra chip damage over the first few turns, as well as panicking the enemy team before Kronya moves in. Yuri doesn't apply extra chip damage, but he's an excellent way to navigate the map, and is particularly helpful for sniping healing towers to make sure Duma and Takami get their damage to stick. Disarm Trap also means that he can open up creative options for Kronya to find an angle. Peony's a useful, flexible dancer who can give Kronya a significant boost to attack from across the map. Kronya herself is sticking to her usual kit. Athame's Vantage is what makes her such a flexible unit, while the combination of Special Spiral and Ruptured Sky gives her enough firepower to punch through bulky units. Fatal Smoke's a good way to suppress enemy healers, or healing towers, and a Savage Blow Seal lets her chip down the enemy team's health even further. As much as I was looking forward to using Kronya, she was also sharing a bonus season with Dimitri, and he ended up taking more of the interesting matches this week. His team lets him star as a solo carry, using Atrocity and Panic Smoke to cripple his opponents while keeping himself healthy thanks to Soul and Aeraid Bar's dodge effect. The support options on the team do a lot to boost his effectiveness too. Not needing Mythics means he can have both Lilith and Ninian on the team, adding both Null Follow-Up and Breath to his kit. Using Elemine and Fjorm gives the squad an extreme level of control over the defense's actions, along with providing Dimitri access to penalty neutralization or an extra layer of damage reduction as needed. He also got a team with Fjorm, allowing him to focus on melee while Fjorm handles the ranged threats. Self-charging Vital Astra makes Dimitri even harder to punch through, and also lets him one-shot just about anything he fights. Deflect magic really helps Fjorm in case she runs into multi-hit magic that Elemine can't prevent, and Castrol Stance gives her a bit more punch to deal with some of the bulkier red opponents. Now that we've gone over the teams, let's get to the first match. This was a neat match near the end of the week. They did box their Chrom away from the rest of his team, which really lowers the overall threat of this setup. It means you don't have to worry about any change fate shenanigans, and also lets you just focus on 5 units instead of 6. The Vantage can make him a little bit tricky to handle when cleaning things up at the end of a match, but it's not as bad as if he was able to just move around the map freely. They do have an impressive set of mage threats on their team. The Harmonic Sonya in particular can definitely catch people off guard if they're not being careful, thanks to the pre-charged Luna and her ability to warp up to 4 spaces, along with the Rally Trap that lets her move and then get danced and pick off a target that you might not have expected her to reach. Thor's stall actually catches me off guard a little bit here too. I was planning on having Yuri move 3 spaces instead of 1, but we can make it work anyway thanks to a smite from Duma, and then move Kronya in to get things started. Having Yuri pick off the healing tower at the beginning means that the 10 damage from Duma gets to stick and lets Kronya one-shot Thor, and set the rest of their team up for an easy Vantage sweep. And with no Hardy Bearing on their team, it's just a matter of going down the health chain.
Just a nuisance. You're in my way. You're in my way.
And from there it's just about picking up the second Aether pot and opening up the wall that blocks Chrom in,
Time to kill?
before letting Kronya close out the match with another Vantage.
My warmest greetings.
You fool!
This match was a neat one. They've got a bit of a calf-ball here with the Brave Erica, New Year's Fafnir, Ninja Korin, and Harmonica Zura. It's a pretty solid color spectrum of threats, and can be a bit tricky to handle without the right defense team to deal with it. And they're using an Ascended Fjorm to help protect it from hit-and-run attempts. She doesn't actually get to cover Korin, so it's a bit of a weak point, but it's also a little harder to reach Korin with a ranged unit and get back out, since the threat range is being extended pretty far, thanks to Note.
Fine.
I decide to get going right away here, just moving Dimitri in to block their Pathfinder, and giving him some support from our Fjorm and Elamine. Neutralizing the penalties is important since he's actually taking a couple of menaces from Note and Erica, and the extra damage reduction he's getting from Elamine means that he can shrug off Korin and bounce right back. With Korin out of the way, there's really not much left on the team that can threaten him. Even if Azura can come in and do 32 damage in the forecast, she can't really get much done through that damage reduction, and he only ends up healing him. Then Erica and Note move in, and well, when they're panicked after buffing themselves with attack and speed, they're not going to have a good time with this.
Don't let them retreat.
And at the end of that, Fjorm can't reach us, and it makes it pretty easy for us to take our time and reach the second Aether pot in the corner before we close things out.
Your orders.
Let's find happiness.
Where? Fine.
Let's take us an extra turn to get there, but once we do, Elamine can just move in,
I'll comply.
pick it up, and we can let Dimitri move in to close out the match. This match was a fun one to run into at the end of the week, with the first all-plus-10 defense team that I've seen in quite a while. It's a very impressive and intimidating setup. This +10 Brave Hector with Hardy Fighter, Distant Defense 4, and Deflect Magic is a bit of an immovable object for any ranged hit-and-run approaches, while the Crom, Dagger, and Lysithea offer a really great 1-2-3 punch of ranged threats. The Kanto control from Crom also does a lot of work to prevent any melee hit-and-run attempts, and the extra reach that 2 Pathfinders and the Duo Peony offer make it very hard to stop this team from getting onto a target you don't want them to reach, especially with Crom's Change Fate in the mix. And meanwhile, the blue feud for Dagger and the colorless feud for Lysithea make it even harder to actually use any of the common tanks to muscle your way through this.
Yes? I will go.
I do decide to just get things going here right away and let Fjorm handle the ranged threats. And while Crom does get a partial charge on his Deadeye, it doesn't get fully charged here, which means that Fjorm can absorb that hit and knock him out on the counter. The Lysithea was very impressive in being able to actually quad Fjorm, but she doesn't have Desperation if she's able to quad, which means that Fjorm can sneak in and finish her off before the second round of hits lands. Dagger comes in for the last hit and just can't quite finish Fjorm off. And from there, well, Peony's not really going to be able to do damage to Fjorm, so Note moves in to take her shot at Dimitri, which doesn't end very well for her. And then Peony helpfully donates another 7 health to Fjorm. Which just leaves Hector with no team left to protect. And from here it's pretty easy to move Dimitri up, and let Lilith jump past him to snag our second Aether pot.
Fine.
before letting Dimitri tank Hector and close out the match.
Don't let them retreat.
It's another fun week of matches overall. Chaos weeks are always just a fun time to kick back and relax a little and not worry quite as much about defense results. And it's a lot of fun to just experiment with teams and setups that aren't necessarily possible in the usual weeks thanks to the Mythic scoring system. I do have a Discord channel if you'd like to hang out and chat. There's a link in the description, and I've also got a Patreon link there too if you'd like to help support the channel. As always, I hope you've enjoyed the video, good luck with your own matches, and I'll see you next time.